What is my business worth? Almost every business owner gets this wrong. Two business owners, I want you to picture them both. Same industry, manufacturing, a category that's been selling well. Both companies generating roughly the same annual revenue. Both have been running their operations for over 20 years. Both have strong, repeat customer bases. Both profitable, well-run, and by any measure, good businesses. Both owners decide to sell in the same 12-month window. Same market, same buyer pool, same economic conditions. On paper, identical. Owner A receives an offer he accepts. He sells for $10.1 million. Owner B also receives offers. She closes for $18.4 million. Same business, same market, same year, $8.3 million difference at the closing table. I want you to sit with that number for a second. $8.3 million on the same business. That gap did not come from luck or anything outside either owner's control. It came from one thing. Owner B understood exactly how buyers calculate the value of a business. Owner A did not, and that difference, the difference between understanding the formula and not understanding it, was worth $8.3 million on the same asset. If you own a business and you have a number in your head for what it's worth, and you've never had someone walk you through the actual formula buyers use to arrive at their number, this video is specifically for you. In this video, I'm going to show you the exact formula buyers use to value your business. The 4 specific factors that determine whether you end up closer to owner A or owner B, and the one number most owners have never calculated, but that drives most of their final sales price. Be sure to listen to the end, because at the end of this video, I'm going to show you the single highest leverage thing you can do in the next 90 days to increase your business valuation. I'm Matt Ewell, founder of Ridge Trail Capital, 18 years, 200 million plus in M&A transactions. If you own a business and you've been carrying a number in your head for years and nobody has ever shown you how a buyer actually arrives at their offer, what drives that number up and what drives it down, that gap is exactly what this channel is for. Here's the core of the problem, and I want to say this clearly because it explains almost everything. Most business owners value their business the way they think about their business. They think about what they put into it, the years of sacrifice, the revenue they've generated for decades, the employees who have been with them since the beginning, the reputation they've built. Buyers don't think that way. They are not paying for the sacrifice you made to build this. They are buying your future cash flow, and they calculate that future cash flow using a specific formula that has nothing to do with what you put in and everything to do with what the business generates for its owner. The formula is the seller's discretionary earning, SDE, or adjusted EBITDA. That's the foundation of virtually every small and lower middle market business valuation. 2 variables. The first one, most owners don't know how to calculate correctly. The second, most owners don't know how to influence. SDE is not your revenue. It is not your net profit as it appears on your tax return. It is the total financial benefit the business owner delivers to a single owner operator. Your net profit plus your owner salary plus any personal expenses the business runs through that a new owner wouldn't occur, plus any one-time or non-recurring costs that exist on the books this year but won't under new ownership. Those adjustments are called add-backs. Identifying every legitimate add-back correctly, defensively, with documentation is one of the most financially consequential things a seller can do before going to market. Here's why it matters. A business generating $800,000 in net profit might have a real SDE of $1.2 million once the owner's salary, a personal vehicle, some travel, and one-time equipment purchases are correctly added back. That $400,000 difference in SDE multiplied by a 4x is $1.6 million of sales price. That exists in the business right now, but only gets captured if you know how to find it and present it correctly. The multiple is the second variable, and that is where the silver tsunami matters directly to your situation. With more businesses coming to market every year, as the boomer transfer accelerates, buyers are becoming more disciplined. They have more options. The businesses that command the highest multiple address specific factors buyers use to set that number. A service business with reoccurring contracts, a management team in place, and a diversified customer base might command a 5x. The same revenue in a business where the owner is the primary relationship with every customer, where the top 3 clients represent 60% of revenue, and where there are no documented systems in place, might command a 2x. On a business generating $1.5 million in SDE, that difference in multiple is the difference between a $3 million exit and a $7.5 million exit. Let me show you exactly what produced that $4.5 million gap. 4 factors, everyone controllable. Factor 1, owner dependency. Owner A was the business every major customer talked to. Every relationship ran through him. Decisions required his sign-off, no management layer that could operate independently. When buyers evaluated his company, one question dominated every conversation. What happens to the business when he leaves? That question is the most expensive question in a business sale. A business where revenue depends on the owner trades at a steep discount, 30 to 50% below sometimes, a comparable business with an independent management team. On a $10 million business, that is $3 to $5 million because the owner was irreplaceable. Factor 2, customer concentration. Owner A had 3 customers representing 60% of his annual revenue. From a business perspective, great customers, long-standing, loyal, profitable. From a buyer's perspective, 3 single points of failure. Buyers think about what happens on day 91 after that acquisition closes. What if one of those 3 customers decides the relationship was personal to the previous owner and moves their business? What if they use the transition as an opportunity to renegotiate their pricing? 20% of revenue gone before the buyer has recovered a single dollar of their acquisition costs. The standard in this industry, no single customer should represent more than 15% of revenue if you want a clean multiple. Above 30% for a single customer, discounts become material and negotiating leverage shifts decisively to the buyer. Factor 3, financial presentation. Owner B had 3 years of clean, professionally prepared financials. Every add back identified, documented, and supported. Her SDE calculation was transparent and defensible. When a buyer's accountants look at her books during due diligence, they found exactly what they expected to find. No surprises, no unexplained variances. Clarity builds confidence. When buyers are confident in the numbers, they compete for the business rather than negotiating against the uncertainty. Owner A had 3 years of financials that required explanations at every turn. Personal expenses running through operating accounts, a revenue spike that wasn't documented, tax returns that told a different story than the P&Ls. When buyers see ambiguity in the numbers, they do one of 2 things. They lower their offer to price in the risks they can't quantify, or they walk away. Factor 4, growth trajectory. Owner B business had grown revenue 12% annual for 3 consecutive years, selling into an expanding market with documented momentum. When buyers looked at her financials, they weren't just paying for what the business earned last year. They were paying for what it was becoming. Buyers pay for trajectory. A business growing at 12% per year commands a premium multiple because the buyer is acquiring a compounding asset. They're not buying 1.5 million in current SDE. They're buying the path from 1.5 million to 2.1 million to 2.8 million. Owner A's business was flat, stable, which is not nothing, but flat. No growth story, no reason for a buyer to pay for future performance they couldn't see in the numbers. 4 factors, every one of them controllable, none of them luck. Together, they produce $4.5 million of difference in value. The same business, same market, same year. I've put together a business valuation guide. It walks through the full SDE calculation step by step, the multiple ranges by industry, and a self-assessment of the 4 factors we just covered that you can run on your own business right now. If you own a business and you've never calculated your real SDE, the number a buyer will actually use, not the number on your tax return, that guide is specifically for you. Most owners go through it, discover their business is worth more than they assumed, sometimes significantly more, because they've never identified their legitimate add backs. Some discover it's worth less, and more importantly, they discover exactly why and what to do about it before going to market. In some cases, the gap between what they assumed and what the market would actually pay was $2 million, $3 million, or more. That gap is expensive. Download the link for more information. Here's the practical side of everything I've just shown you. 3 moves in order of impact. Move 1, calculate your real SDE today. This is the highest leveraging thing you can do in the next 90 days. Pull your last 3 years of financials, identify every legitimate add back, your salary or draw, any personal vehicles or travel the business covers, any personal expenses running through the business accounts, any one-time costs that exist on the books this year but won't reoccur under new ownership, any above market management fees, any family members on payroll whose roles won't be needed by a new owner. Add them back to your net profit. That number you get is your real SDE. And I promise you, it's almost certainly different from what you've been thinking. I've sat with owners who thought their business was worth $4 million and walked them through an SDE calculation, but put the real number at $6.5 million. That's a $2.5 million difference that existed the whole time. It was simply never calculated correctly. That is the most expensive 90-minute exercise you will ever skip. Move 2, run the 4-factor assessment on your business. Take the 4 factors from this video and apply them honestly to your own business. Owner dependency, customer concentration, financial presentation, and growth trajectory. Be brutal. The buyers will be. Every factor where you have a problem is a negotiating liability that will show up in their offer. But here's the crucial point. Every single one of those factors is fixable, not in 30 days, but with 12 to 24 months of deliberate preparation. A business that commands a 2.5x multiple can be repositioned to command a 4.5x multiple. On $2 million of SDE, that is the difference between a $5 million exit and a $9 million exit. $4 million of difference from preparation. The owners who make that preparation now, while the business is healthy and they have time, are the owner Bs of this wave. The ones who don't are the owner As. Move 3, get a market-based comparable. A real market-based valuation compares your SDE and your multiple not to a formula or a range in your head, but to actual recent comparable transactions in your specific industry. What businesses like yours actually sold for, when and at what multiple, and under what conditions. That information does 2 things. It tells you whether the number you've been carrying is close to reality or dangerously off. And it gives you something concrete to negotiate from when a buyer makes an offer. Without it, you are negotiating from a position of guesswork against someone who studies this market every single day. That is not a position you want to be in on the single most important financial transaction of your life. Let's go back to the 2 owners I introduced at the start of this video. I want to say something about owner A that I think is important. Owner A did not have a bad business. He ran a great company for 20 years. He was profitable, respected in his industry, and worked hard every single day. He just didn't know what he didn't know. His financials were messy because nobody told him what buyers look at. His customer concentration was high because no one told him what it cost in a transaction. His owner dependency was baked in because that's how he built his business. No one showed him how a buyer prices that risk. His multiple was compressed because no one sat down with him and explained what moves it up. Owner B had the same business. She just had the information 18 months before she needed it. $4.5 million, that's what information is worth in a business sale. That is what preparation is worth. If you want to find out where you stand, your real SDE, your likely multiple range, the specific factors you would need to change to command a higher number, and what your exit could genuinely look like in today's market, book a call using the link below. No pressure, no pitch, just your specific numbers and an honest conversation about where you are and what's possible. Because most business owners only sell once, make sure that one time counts.